Welcome to RuPaul's Drag Race Recap for Season 10, Episode 13, titled Reunion. My name is not Joe Batance, it's Taylor the Latte Boy, and I'm joined by one intercoursing co-host. From the podcast RuPaul's Drag Race Recap until I come back for Season 11, please say, hopefully for the last time, Miss Vanjie to Evan Ayres.
Miss Vanjie. Hi.
Oh my God. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
I'm so good. I feel like that teenager at the sleepover, wasn't really invited, but like their parents have mutual friends, and so you were in the neighborhood and you just happened upon it. So right. Dad Joe's asleep, and here we are.
We're downstairs in the basement, and we're watching Cinemax, and we're in sleeping bags.
Yeah.
Did you watch Cinemax? See, I immediately go to the creepy place. Because the spirit of Joe, the power of Batance compels me. Did you used to, when you were a kid, watch Cinemax and stuff like that?
For porn?
Yeah, I mean, it was totally softcore stuff, but
I don't think we did. We watched really stinky bad horror movies, like Drag Me to Hell, or these like the dumb. It was if it had less than a star, we were into it.
Okay,
but it was it was pay-per-view. So if it was Cinemax, probably we did it.
Okay, because we watched a show. I used to watch a show that actually was a combination of softcore porn and horror on HBO when I was a kid, called The Hitchhiker.
Oh,
no, that's now. No, it was called The Hitchhiker, and it was a show. It was an anthology series, and I remember the guy that was the sort of the Rod Sterling. Do you know who Rod Sterling is?
I do, yes.
Okay, he was sort of that. He was this really kind of sexy for the 80s type, where he was a hitchhiker, and then he would tell stories while he was waiting for a car to pick him up. And there were lots of famous people that were sort of famous then, but now when you see them now, they were really, really famous. Okay. And then there were some people that were famous for the time and were never seen again. But they all starred in these little anthology series that always kind of ended with a horror twist. But at some point, there was at least, boobs or butt shown at some point. So that was the escandalo part.
Escandalo.
I remember Demi Moore was in an episode with Jeffrey Tambor, where she went to I don't think she got naked in it, but she went to a fortune teller in the 50s, and she was told she was going to marry the next man she met was going to be a rich man, and she was going to marry him. So she meets Jeffrey Tambor, and he's got all of these prosthetics where he's really, really he's really ugly, but she just tells herself he's on his way into business, to become a famous businessman. He's going to make lots of money. So I just have to stay with him until he gets this money.
Ooh.
So she's with him forever. She's with him for a while, and things aren't working the way they wanted to work out. And then she ends up meeting somebody that supposedly is going to be is going to be rich or something like that. So she decides that she's leaving Jeffrey Tambor because she's going to be with the rich guy. But what she doesn't know is that he filled out a $1 million insurance policy on her. So he says, if I can't have you, nobody does. And he kills her so that he gets the money. So he ends up that she did marry a rich man, but he became rich by killing her. Shit like that over a course of a 25-minute episode.
All right. Yeah, we did my best memory was I came out to my friends at one point, and then we had one of these sleepovers, and we ended up watching that movie Teeth. Have you seen that?
No. I'm familiar with it. I've read the Wikipedia page on it, but
it's for those who don't know, it's a movie about this woman who finds out that she has powers within her vajayjay to chomp things that enter vajayjays, and it was accidental completely. We were just oh, this looks fun. It has not great reviews. Mind you, I just told my friends I prefer buttholes to vagina. And afterwards, they were like, "Did this movie did this affect you in any way? Are you okay?" I was like, "Oh my God, I've never been more okay." This.
And all three of them said, "You know what? This gay thing. Let's maybe
fun,
the butthole is a little safer than the vajayjay."
Don't show me your teeth. Yeah, no, I feel that. Keep that. Don't even smile. Do you know that reference? Show me your teeth.
Show Me Your Teeth, Lady Gaga.
Oh, God bless you.
I love that song. That is one of my favorite songs from that album.
Oh, she's so wonderful.
She's so wonderful. So if you had a chance to, I'm going to ask the stereotypical question. If you had a chance to have dinner with a celebrity, would it be Lady Gaga?
Maybe, Depends where. I'm afraid of meeting her because she means so much to me. It's like one of the things where you don't meet your icons or don't meet people that you care about so much. I think I want to say her, but who would you pick? Like who would be your person? Because I think
Tina Turner.
Tina Turner. Okay.
Tina Turner. I've loved Tina Turner since I was a little kid, and she's a fascinating life. So, okay, so let me ask you this then.
Yeah. I would pick Gaga, and it would be at her restaurant that her family owns.
Okay, having dinner with Lady Gaga, or getting to be on Survivor but being the first one sent home.
Why are you coming for me? Literally? Gaga, because I'd rather be on Survivor and do well.
Okay. Well, yes, no, I understand that.
I'll get on Survivor from being like internet famous, from gagging at having dinner with Gaga.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. There's nothing more embarrassing than Tina Turner.
Being the first one sent home.
Tina Turner, though. Yeah, you don't want to be the first person sent home. If anything, no.
Okay. Yeah, Tina Turner, Tina Turner was probably my first real gay icon. No, because I was a big Olivia Newton-John fan when I was really little. So that right there. I mean, Xanadu is pretty much the moment that came out it was all over.
Yeah, so
we have talked about Xanadu before. You are familiar with Xanadu.
Yes, I do know Xanadu. Okay. I know Olivia Newton-John. So how much did you love the Tuna Turner pun when she talked? Was it this season? It was Tuna Turner, or was it last season or All Stars?
I don't remember a Tuna Turner.
It was during the Mermaid Challenge. Someone said Tuna Turner, and I like.
Oh,
screamed.
Okay.
But okay.
No, that's. No, I didn't like that. Apparently,
no, apparently not.
I didn't remember it. So
oof.
That's all right.
Oh, Gucci.
But I guess we should mention that there's another voice not with us tonight.
Yeah. Wait, who?
Yeah, exactly.
We killed her.
Exactly. That was it. We couldn't take, Evan gets back from a trip to see Joe and spends a lot of time out on that patio.
I got to know her. I learned her behavioral patterns. I learned her sleep cycle. I learned everything about her. And then I struck. She's gone. I don't know where. She just went away for a bit, and I'm going to sip my water while you explain where he is.
Yeah, I don't remember. No, Joe had a meeting. Joe had a meeting tonight for something, probably to find 2 new co-hosts for the show, and he was unable to attend tonight. So I, in a moment of weakness, said, "Well, I'll co-host with Evan."
Yeah.
And then immediately went, What? Why did I say that out loud? Because I've had most of the season off. I've come back once or twice, and I was like so close to getting through the whole thing without having to do more episodes. Yeah. And then I know I'm supposed to be back next week for the big finale. And then I'm like, why would I add one more hour? But because I thought this would be something different. I thought the listeners would enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I mean, as a fan of this show, truly, I've been listening to your season 6 recap, like religiously recently. And like, I'm pumped to hear you. Like, I'm glad to have you back. Thank you for being here.
Yeah. I think this will be fun. I only got creepy for a minute, but I didn't get creepy about you. I just got creepy in general.
Well,
so my plan is to not get creepy.
If it ain't creepy, mama, I'm not interested.
Oh, that was a bad one. Hold on. Yeah, I can't do the mouth click. So, which is why my husband is not a happy person. No. Okay. Womp, womp. Okay. So, oh no, we can't do the womp womp right now.
Not yet. Leave Jocelyn Fox out of this.
Yeah.
Womp, womp.
Okay, so let's get started. You ready?
Let's go. Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, let's go. Do you know what that's from when she does that?
I actually don't. And I didn't even notice that she does it until she. Okay, spoiler. I was very lucky and went to the filming of the finale. And she was obsessed with like making that line perfect. I was like, why is this like I never noticed how much she like that's her thing for the like where is it from?
It's from Mommy Dearest.
Oh.
She likes to pop little Mommy Dearest references into at least each season. There is at least one that she kind of throws in.
Okay.
The one where she opened the door and she had the face mask and her hair in curlers.
Oh yeah.
From a couple seasons ago. That's from Mommy Dearest.
And shut your stick in pie holes and go to bed.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, there's references like that all the time. She puts in little things that are because she apparently is a huge. I remember Joe mentioning this. So if this is wrong, blame Batance. But she is a huge fan of the movie Mommy Dearest.
That's why I freaking love this show, man. Like even when there's maybe nothing to talk about, like RuPaul, like there's always like a purpose behind something, like in the show, like the show. You know what I mean? Like I never knew that until just now, and so now I'm gonna have to rewatch it.
Absolutely.
So thank you for making me not hang out with anyone for the next 2 weeks while I rewatch and look for Mommy Dearest. Like references.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of nothing to talk about, this week, all 14 queens returned for most of the episode. Everyone beat a certain catchphrase to death. The Vixen has had it, officially. Asia works through some shit. Rue watches her favorite Pornhub channel, Crying Queens, and everyone comes for Cameron in the last 2 minutes, seemingly out of nowhere. Oh, and Monique talks. A lot. Evan, please tell us 2 things you liked about this episode and 1 thing you did not.
Oh, boy. I really liked Dusty Ray Bottoms. I really enjoyed hearing from him. I thought she looked amazing, and I liked hearing a little bit more about her journey, and I think that she's such an interesting character. And I think that it was great that she had this bit of time to just kind of be more present and known. I love that.
Yeah.
To be basic, I love the Vanjie call out. I love how much RuPaul's obsessed with her. You know, it's probably beaten to the ground a million times, but this queen was eliminated first, so like I'm gonna give her as much love as I can. Thing I didn't like how, I don't want to say aggressive Rue was, but like, so the rumor is that this took like almost 10 hours to film.
Oh.
Yes. So yeah, like this is like apparently like a huge like production, literally. And I didn't love how over it some of the queens are. Like Monique Hart could not be bothered sometimes to answer some of these questions. Like, oh, so I mean that's kind of subjective. But what about you? What did you think? As I know that you are a professional, you're professional fish, and the whole time I was like, oh my god, Rue, you're gonna have so many thoughts on Rue's. Like,
oh, we're gonna talk about that. We're definitely gonna talk about that a little bit later on.
I can't wait to see how this turns out.
And it might not turn out the way you think it does. I'm trying to think 2 things that I liked about it. I thought that the reading challenge at the end was better than the ones they picked on the episode. I thought some of them were. Dusty came for Cameron, and it was funny, even given some of the stuff that happened before and after that. It was a funny moment. Something else that I loved about the episode, 3 words: the popcorn dress. I loved that look. I loved the texture of it. I loved the aesthetic. I just loved everything about it. The thing that I didn't like about the episode would probably be and I know that it was she was a big part of the episode of the season, would be the amount of time. Yes, exactly. Sorry. Absolutely. It would be the amount of time spent on the Vixen.
Yeah.
I think that it kind of feeds into some stuff that I would like to talk about. And we're probably going to talk about the Vixen and all of that at length a little bit later on. But it just kind of felt like there was an appeasement there.
Yeah.
That I just didn't, it left a bad taste in my mouth.
I can't wait, because I should preface that I watched this at the bar for once with friends of mine. It's like it's my good friend's like last night in town. So I said I would come visit him or like watch a show with him. And my friends know that I do this podcast. And so a lot of times, like when we're watching it, they'll like kind of look at me like they think I know things that aren't always true. And every time RuPaul would talk or every time the Vixen would show up, they would like dart their eyes at me and be like, oh, are you going to analyze this later? And I'm like, I'm not, but Taylor's going to. So
I'm sitting with a licensed clinical professional who will be talking about this ad nauseum.
So yes, but no. So I'm very excited to hear your thoughts. So
okay. All right. Well, let's get started on the episode. After last week's non-elimination, all 14 queens. There was 14, right?
Sure.
13 or 14.
28. Whatever. Who cares?
There was 28. Okay. Yeah. All the queens returned to a completely different stage to discuss the previous season's highs and lows. First up, Rue asks Vanessa Vanjie Mateo to discuss the origins of her catchphrase. By the way, we don't have clips this week.
Oh, yeah. No clips.
Yeah, no, we're just going to kind of talk about stuff. So, but Evan, what are your thoughts on this montage Rue shared? And do you think the phrase will continue next season, or has it run its course?
You know, I love any chance to support somebody, especially like a queen that goes on first. So I think it's a great thing, and I love it. Mm-hmm. Potential spoiler: there's a rumor that she's on the next season, so we may get tired. I don't think it's going to be the next Cuckoo by any means, but I love that she's getting supported, and I love that RuPaul's obsessed with it. A straight girlfriend of mine said Vanjie unironically the other day, and I was like, oh god, like we've approached that market, so maybe it might be time for it to retire. But it's like when your mom shows up on Fringe on Facebook, okay, it was time to go. No, she's been blocked for years. Don't worry. That's not even an option. But no, like I love how much love she's getting, and I think it's wonderful. I think in a year's time we'll be saying something different. What do you think?
I figure because let me back up. I fell in love with Vanjie a little bit just in the couple of minutes that she talked in the beginning, because another theme that we had for the whole episode is really only like 4 queens talked the entire time, and everybody else just sort of sat quietly. But I mean, just the fact that she got those first couple of moments, and she got the good comeback at the read at the end.
Yeah.
But for the most part, just there was something very bubbly about her, and she seemed very appreciative. And it was funny that she said, "I started booking things right away because I knew that I was the first one going home." I hope she comes back next season. And I was somebody that when we did the Meet the Queens episode at the beginning, I did not like her at all.
Really?
So this was and I'm tired of the Vanjie thing. I worry that because of the filming, because we know that they film now, they've been filming right now. So Vanjie is still very much in the vernacular. Do the queens that are there, whether she is a part of season 11 or not, recognize that a year from now people will be tired of that? Or do you think that they just go full tilt boogie into it and just say Vanjie?
Maybe they won't be. Who knows? Like, it's hard to tell what the standing power of Vanjie is. I mean, to be fair, they were the crew in production was obsessed with Vanjie. Like, they didn't all these clips that we've seen throughout the episodes. Like, they didn't even know that this was going to be a huge viral thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, RuPaul has been talking about it throughout the entire season, and so it clearly has a staying power.
Joe and I are aware of that she talks about it sometimes because
was the moment
get
that
letters.
Shit, yeah. I don't know. I mean, again, she is a beacon for people who want to go on the show, and you make the best of your time there. If I hear Vanjie when I'm 38, I'll probably throw myself out of a window, but for now I'm here for it.
Okay. Well, you can't tell me that because then I have to fill out paperwork. If you're threatening suicidal ideation, then I'm like, oh, great. Now I got forms I got to fill out.
Is now a good time to talk? I can docu-sign it to you if you want.
Oh, no, you don't have to sign them. I just have to sign them. That's all that's needed.
Okay.
I've done Baker Acts before. People are like, well, what do I need to sign? I'm like, nothing. The police are on their way.
God, no.
You just sit there and rock gently.
The cops don't know my real name. Don't worry.
All right. Next up, we are treated, and I say that in rabbit ears. Let me say that again. Joe, take that part out. Next, we are treated to a montage of the Vixen arguing with other queens throughout the season, particularly Aquaria and Eureka. The discussion with Aquaria is tepid, except for Monet's reaction to being misrepresented, but when a major argument from Untucked between the Vixen and Eureka is replayed, and Rue shares her opinions and questions, the Vixen states she only came back to thank her fans and walks off the stage, never to return again, until next week's finale, we can assume. Evan, please share your thoughts on the first part of the Vixen discussion. And by that I mean to when she walks off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I want to support her, and I want to I completely respect and understand the arguments that she's making and her perspective where she's coming from. But it's so shocking and frustrating that she didn't realize that she was going to have this conversation like on a platform of this television show. So it almost seemed like she had so much time to prepare for this, and yet she was still ill prepared, and it like showed clearly. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's upsetting because, again, like you want to support everybody, and like that's what the whole point of the show is. Like love everybody, blah, blah blah. But like, she clearly could not handle it. So like I don't have a lot of like nice things to say, but I don't have a lot of things to say that are like constructive. You know what I mean? Like I think I watched this at a bar, and when she started going in, people were no one booed, no one was like yelling. They were like, oh God, like how do we react to this? Like you could tell she was going through something. Yeah,
I think that. Okay, I have many thoughts.
Yeah, please take this hot potato because Mama's not interested.
No, I think you're right. I think she came in prepared, but I think she came in prepared with a monologue, not the opportunity to have a dialogue.
Yes, she was Trixie Mattel in the Snatch Game of All Stars 3. She had things to say, but was not prepared to respond to things.
Right. That's a good analogy, I guess.
Thanks, Daddy.
No, because she went back on the thing that I have a problem with, where she is going to escalate, but then when people try to escalate back, she feels if I just shout over them, or if I just keep saying what I'm saying, and nobody can talk me down, sort of thing. Yeah. I was bothered by when Monet was saying, you know, I never said that. That was not what I said. I said this, and she kept saying Aquarium Monet said this, and then Aquarium Monet said this, and Aquarium Monet, like there's something very juvenile about that, and there's something very immature. It's very passive aggressive, and what you're doing in that is we get it. You're trying to prove a point that you disagree, but when you do that, where you're just saying the name over and over again, all it's doing is it's taking away from your argument. Yes. Because nobody's hearing that, they're just hearing you be cunty.
Yeah.
At that point, the other problem with this is that when you compare Eureka, you know they replayed the Eureka and Vixen argument from Untucked. Let me get my notes because I took notes the whole time because I had to write the script, but I also took a couple things in there. I think you can really see the difference between growth in Eureka versus growth in the Vixen.
Okay,
because
leave the weight gain alone. That's like
I see the easy joke.
Sorry,
Come on,
sorry,
now.
I'm here.
That's okay. You're here for the easy jokes. So, isn't Easy Joke your drag name?
No, that's just my name to my family. The
easy joke.
Go on. Sorry.
The easiest joke, the Evan Ayres story, now on Lifetime.
Bitch.
Right. Who would play you? Which TV movie queen would you want to play you?
Diana DeGarmo in drag as a boy.
Of all of the people, does Diana DeGarmo do like Lifetime movies?
No, she does Broadway though, and Fantasia Barrino had a Lifetime movie. Life is not a fairy tale.
Well, but that was the Fantasia Barrino story, right? Okay. So who do you think would play, because there would be scenes of you doing a podcast, who would play Joe and I as your podcast co-hosts?
Who would play Joe? Are you going to answer this or am I going to answer it?
No, you're going to answer it.
Oh, I don't.
No, I have to deal with him on a regular basis next season. I'm not answering that question.
Bro, I don't have, what's it called when you like have a guaranteed spot next season? Who would do Joe?
Well, that's a question that all of Los Angeles has been asking. I'm going to plead the fifth
on that one. We'll see.
No, you have to answer. You have to come up with somebody. It doesn't have to be somebody that looks like Joe.
It'll be who's the guy from Breaking Bad, the main character who's Zordon in the new Power Rangers movies? Oh God, what's his name?
Bryan Cranston.
Yeah, Bryan Cranston. I don't know why. Let's move on.
So you're going male with this?
I mean,
because you're Diana DeGarmo.
I don't see people that way, but
you apparently see yourself as Diana DeGarmo, though.
I don't want to cry out loud, but here we are.
I love that version of that song.
Oh my God.
That was one of the first songs I ever bought on iTunes, and I didn't even watch American Idol.
Dreams, I Believe, and Don't Cry Out Loud. I still have that EP. Are you kidding me? Oof.
Okay, well, don't go looking for it now.
Well, I'll have to. Okay. Eureka! I have it on my phone.
Okay, so Eureka would play Joe. Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
actually,
right.
Eureka would.
Who would play me?
Who would play you? Oh God, who would play you?
What grand dame of the TV movie of the week would play Taylor the Latte Boy?
Taylor the Latte Boy. I'm thinking like Robert Downey Jr. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. is not a woman, but okay.
You need a woman. You need a woman.
Yeah, if we have 3 females playing.
I'm sorry, I'm a millennial. I don't see gender. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, just see it for a minute and just answer the fucking question.
Right.
Who?
Woman. I'm sorry. Woman. Blah, blah, blah. Kristen Wiig is one of you. Because that's who I want to be in.
Okay. All right, so you want to be Diana DeGarmo, Kristen Wiig, and Eureka.
Yeah. The magical trio, the 3 of them.
Magic. The adventure begins.
Okay. I haven't watched that Queer Eye reboot, but could you imagine? Or what do they say? Can you believe?
I haven't watched the Queer Eye. I haven't watched either season yet. Okay, but we're getting off topic from the Vixen. Because I don't want to talk about the Vixen, but I want to talk about the Vixen.
Look at us diverting from the Vixen. So the Vixen was angry, and
I think I wrote something here and I can't remember what it is, but the level of
professionalism was far too much.
Yes, clearly. I think the moment when Ru started asking questions or started challenging her as far as you had a choice. You said you were going to start shit. You literally walked in the first day and said, I'm going to fight. Not I'm going to fight for the crown. Not I'm going to fight for my spot. I'm going to fight. And then proceeded to fight. And to instigate things. And that's the word I wrote that I couldn't read. Instigating. I mean, she instigated the whole Aquaria Cracker thing where she said, no, too vague.
Yeah.
And when Ru challenged her on that, I was telling my husband about this on the commercial break. That is a very clinical thing to do. And as much as I hate when Ru gets all new agey counselor, that sort of stuff, I actually really enjoyed a lot of the interventions, for lack of a better word, that Ru did with various queens this episode, particularly with that, because I was thinking to myself, I would say the exact same thing to her. Well, no, it's not that you had to do it. You had a choice, where she said, well, I felt as though I had to say that. Well, no, because there were 11 other queens sitting around you that did not feel as though they needed to say anything. So what made you about that? And when she realized that she wasn't going to win, or that Ru was right, but she wasn't going to admit that, that's when she got up and walked out. I have had clients do the exact same thing to me. Where I've challenged them on something and I won't let it go because they said things like, I had to do it, or I can't do this. And I'm like, no, you have a choice. Everything we do in life is a choice. That is a big thing that I say with my clients. Every single thing we do. To some degree, breathing is a choice. We choose to breathe because we can hold our breaths. There are ramifications for those decisions, but ultimately we choose to go left or right, good day, bad day, good food, bad food, whatever it is. And I have had people that get so pissed off at me, they've stood up, they told me to go fuck myself, and they've walked out. The problem with that is, usually a couple weeks later, they call me and schedule another appointment because they realize what I said, there is some truth to it. And I think that Ru was definitely challenging her in a way that nobody else could, because to some degree, I think that she held Ru at a higher level than she did all of the other contestants.
Okay, yeah. I can see that.
So I think that there is a sadness to that she can't get there, but we're going to talk about that in the next section.
Sorry, I'm taking a moment to compose myself because you kind of came for me. I'm sorry to tell you that I told you to fuck yourself.
Well, we weren't going to. Technically, I can't share that with everybody because that's confidential. Because so we'll just have to edit this part out. I guess it's fine.
Kidding. Sorry.
So okay, but the one thing did I said that? Okay, hold on. I just realized that I forgot something that we went off on a tangent. The Eureka versus Vixen thing. When Eureka and Vixen were discussing with Ru, do you feel the same way? Do you not feel the same way? Is there anything you could have said different? You can see growth in Eureka where Eureka can at least say, I recognize that I acted in a way that I didn't like. I said things that I probably shouldn't have, that sort of stuff. So in that regard, if the vixen had gone that way, if the vixen had truly felt that way and went that way and said, yeah, I said shit, I went for her, or I said things that I shouldn't have probably said. And, you know, while we're not friends, I regret some things I said. I think that there would be a lot more respect for the vixen, and I think people would have seen her in a different light. Yeah. But that whole double down, digging your heels in, you know, it just doesn't work. So often, it just does not work.
Yeah, no, I agree. And again, the point is that, like, the Eureka, the person who probably has the bigger moral obligation to apologize, like, admitted to, like, her faults or her shortcomings in this situation, like, was very upfront, and, like, she was very, very, very direct, and, like, where she was wrong and, like, how she could grow. And the vixen just, like, wasn't. And I respect someone who, like, stands by what they say or how they feel, blah, blah, but, like, she just didn't do herself any favors here. And it was like...
And I would disagree with that. I would disagree because I think she did do herself a favor, because I think she guaranteed a spot on All Stars, on a future All Stars, because I think that the vixen, because I think every All Star season needs a villain.
True.
And I think what she did was she cemented her status as a villain. And that is something that if she were to decide to do it, I mean, I don't know what the relationship's been like since she walked off the stage, but I just have I said that to, my husband. I said, well, she'll be on All Stars 4, All Stars 5. That's a guarantee.
I don't know about that, but okay.
Okay, well, I just know by what I'm not a big Reddit person, so I don't know what the what the
do you have
is
a life? Can you do things? Yeah.
I went through a brief phase a couple of weeks ago where I was all on Reddit, and then I'm like, you know what? I want to, because now I knew season 11 stuff was starting, and I heard things about All Star 4, so I pulled back a little bit.
It's too much.
And then Joe, because you guys went to the finale, I talked to Joe on the phone, and I said, I don't want to know anything. I just asked him a couple of general questions, and at one point he went, yeah, you don't want to go on Reddit until after you see the finale. So I was like, okay. So I've avoided it for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
After the break, Asia expressed concern about the vixen and worries that the other queens are not helping her. Ru discusses how the vixen does not seem to be ready for the help that Asia feels she needs. This presents a conflict for Asia, who feels strongly that queens help each other. Evan, what do you think about Ru's responses, Asia's sadness, as well as the reactions of the other queens to the whole vixen controversy?
I think Ru's reaction was probably very genuine, and like I think that she meant well, but you know good and goddamn well she was so ready for that Emmy nom doing this. Like, this was her, like, we were rooting for you, we were all rooting for you, how dare you! Like I loved seeing her get riled up and seeing her getting, like, very upset and involved in this, and like that's awesome. But part of me was like, I don't know what her main motive here was this, but I do think that Asia, like, had a good point. She's like, we need to support her sister. Like, she walked out. Like, we should have been there. We should have at least, like, tried. But you know what? Like, at the end of the day, like, she's a finalist here. She's in the top 4. The show is not, like, if I were a contestant, if I were sitting there, I would not be worried about running off to, like, talk to this person who, like, didn't want to be there. I'd be worried about, like, finding a way to make myself, like, a more memorable character. Like, I get it. I don't think that anyone did anything wrong. I think it's weird that she didn't come back, but
I don't.
Not at all.
I don't. No, I think that she is somebody, because she is somebody that doubles down. If she were to have come back, it would have looked like
looked like
defeat.
Yeah, she would have been Kim Zolciak or one of those silly, like, housewives. That just, like, yeah, it's not about stunts.
Yeah.
Did I answer your question? I don't know.
You did, and actually, you and I kind of feel.
Oh my God! Thank you for saying that I did something right, because Joe,
it's so unusual on the show, right?
I'm having a good time doing this. This is.
No, don't say that, because he'll make us do it every week, just the two of us. And then he'll make me start pulling clips, and
we'll get the show canceled before that happens. Don't worry.
Okay.
People in those places. Okay.
All right. I agree with you to a degree about I was with Ru even through the anger. It was it wasn't quite a we were rooting for you, we were all rooting for you, because he wasn't quite that batshit crazy that scene was. Yeah. I still think about that moment every once in a while from Top Model.
Oh, girl.
It wasn't until I know we could do a Top Model, just you and I, a Top Model cast.
I don't. Oh God. What would Tiffany do?
What would Tiffany do? I was with him until the end, and then it was because even when he was talking about I've been there, I've done all that shit, it didn't feel like it was about him. But then like the last 15 to 30 seconds, he kind of turned it back to the RuPaul machine, and I was like, you had me right up until the end. It was he said something that I kind of went, oh.
What, Buy American on iTunes?
Asia, the Asia reaction to that, I think we've already seen that with the episode where she helped everybody else and she didn't have time to get her own thing done. Asia strikes me as somebody that wants to help the Vixen, not only because she wants to help the Vixen, but it is a way of self-care for her in her mind, and it is a way of self-soothing. And she did not want the conflict. She doesn't want that, her way of dealing with things is, and I'm going to use a phrase that's really been overused a lot, is codependent. There's a codependency to that, to where despite the fact that, like you said, I am top 4, I am sitting here with all of this, we all have to help her. The problem is, and the Vixen made this abundantly clear, and this is what I was agreeing with, and I was pretty much saying, like, yes, preach. Vixen doesn't want help. Vixen thinks that she's fine the way she is. And what she's fighting against and what she is not seeing is that does not work it might work for her society, it might work for her community, it might work for her group of people. It doesn't work for the larger narrative, and it doesn't work in a way that is going to help her. Even if at this point it is where Asia said at one point, she goes, I feel like this is a cry for help. If Asia's not willing to get the help, it's going to fall on deaf ears, and all that's going to do is that's going to push people further away that are trying to help her.
Yeah.
I work with a lot of addicts, and I have people where they come in and they talk about the fact that, they're trying to solve these problems in their lives, but they're continuing to use meth, or they're continuing to take pills, or they're continuing to drink. And I've said to the numerous ones, I'm like, you understand that these things aren't going to get better until you change this behavior.
Yeah.
Because you're not able to continue doing the things that you need to do if you're continuing to drink, or you're continuing to use meth, or you're continuing to do all these different things. And I have said to people before, I said, you can come in and you can talk to me about all the stuff going on, but my answer is always going to be the same. I get paid either way when you come in. So I've been quite that coarse with a client, but yeah. I've, said similar things where I'm like, it's not going to get better. Or when we have people, I've had case managers or people come in and say, this person really needs to come see you. And I'm like, are they continuing to use? And they said, yeah. And I'm like, well, nothing's going to change until they're ready to change it for themselves. Yeah. And I feel like that's where we are with the Vixen.
Yeah, as someone who struggles with addiction on a regular basis, like I completely like resonate, or that means I get that a lot, and like that's something that's very pertinent to me. And my thing with the Vixen is like, if we're gonna like compare this like to addiction or something, it's like it seemed like it seems like her identity or her character at this point has been about just like being the center of controversy, or like she's like not the victim, but she knows that she's the bear, and that her identity on the show is about how she either reacts or responds to someone else coming for her. And like that's, what am I trying to say here? She's so much more than that, and I think that Drag Race wanted to show that, but like I don't think they gave her. I don't think she gave them the chance to do so, and
she got in her own way.
She got in her own way, and like Eureka, for example, like said, like Eureka apologized. Oh, here's what it is. Like it's one of those things like where the call comes from within inside the house, like with addiction. Like she is fighting her own demons within herself, and she's assuming that people like Eureka are coming for her. In a grander scale of what she's mentally dealing with, if that makes any sense. And I don't think that that's always the case, and it stinks, because like she is a very talented person, But
I would agree to that. I mean, she had some amazing looks this season.
Did
and
she?
I loved the denim look. I remember really liking that.
Oh, she did. Yeah.
And she had a look where she was in all red.
Or she
that I remember really, really liking.
Okay, you're right.
So those two I remember sticking out. Then I also remember like the pool noodles and stuff like that she looked stupid. But she had a couple of looks that I want to say the fire look might have been my favorite look for that week.
Well, she won that challenge, so that would be fine for you to think that.
Okay. It would be fine. Well, thank you.
Sorry.
That's awfully Christian of you to say that would be fine.
Here am I to tell you that your feelings are valid.
There you go. I was going to say something and it went out of my head that fast. We talked about like the addiction, possibility of addiction of things like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. But drama, there can be an addiction to drama, and there can be an addiction to anxiety, and there can be an addiction to conflict. Because if we're in the middle of conflict and we're in the middle of screaming at somebody, we don't have to focus on ourselves. We can focus on Eureka. We could focus on Aquaria. We could focus on Rue.
What did Rue say to Katya? Like at one point, she said, "You're addicted to the anxiety."
Yeah,
and she maybe she was shocked by that, but that's a real thing. Like feelings, or I think. In my experience, addiction is coded with like a response to a feeling, and then how you deal with that feeling is up to you. Some people deal with it by doing certain things, and some people deal with it by responding to feelings or behaviors. So addiction to anxiety absolutely is a thing.
Oh yeah, I've got a guy that I've been working with for 2 years. 2 years I've been working with this guy, and he is depressed. Well, I'll just leave it at that without getting into his stuff. But I have come to the conclusion, and I have shared this with him, that he is addicted to the depression, which is a very, it's very dangerous to say that to people, especially if addicted to depression. But he is to a point where nothing seems to work with this guy. So it's where you say to yourself, okay, well, so then is this the option? And he eventually came to a place where he said, there's a really good chance I might be. Yeah. That it's just easier, better the devil you know.
Well, I mean, yeah, not to be super dramatic or sad, but like that's my mother to a T. Like my mom and I do not speak for that exact reason. She is a very, very wonderful person, but is very depressed and chooses to cope in certain ways that aren't healthy. And her understanding of what is comfortable and happy is being depressed, and like that's her thing, that's her crutch. And I've told her, I was like, girl, I love you to death, but like I can't be around that. And like that's you gotta want it for yourself. But people truly do better the devil you know, and better the emotion that you know how to respond to than something unfamiliar. So I get why the Vixen reacted this way. I get why, you know what I mean? Like it's easy to judge as an outsider, and when you're watching this on TV, but it probably sucked to be there, and probably sucked to be the Vixen dealing with that. So as much as I disliked her like behavior or her actions, like I want to respect her as an artist, someone who's on the show. So like that's, I don't know.
I would challenge Asia in saying that the best thing that they could have done for her to help her, because she said she wanted to help her, was let her walk.
She did.
Let her walk. And no, that's what I'm saying. As far as where they said, I think it was Asia that said, Vixen, come back.
Oh, yeah.
And then nobody went out and got to the best friend. I mean, it might have been where she came back, she screamed and yelled at everybody, and then she left. I don't know. But if this happened the way that they're portraying it to happen, it sort of is like where people with addictions, and I don't mean to keep using the addictions analogy, but it's the easiest one that kind of pops in my head, is where they have to hit bottom, and they have to lose all that support, and they have to lose, their job, their house, or whatever it is, to get to that point of where they say, I need help. And everybody's bottom is different, but wow. It's hey.
I haven't bottomed yet, but I've definitely left a room and no one's come after me. So they've clapped when I've left. So I feel that though.
Oh, okay. Well, that went to a dark place really fast.
She kids.
I know. So, all right. So, are we done talking about the Vixen?
I think so.
Okay, so we'll probably talk about the Vixen a little bit next week at the finale, but otherwise, all of the Vixen drama, this is the official putting the pin on it.
I mean, yeah.
Okay. All right, so mirror moments became a major theme for almost half of the episode, with backstories for Dusty Ray Bottoms, Monique Hart, Blair St. Clair, and Yuhua Hamasaki, all discussing moments and relationships that have been a struggle for them. And now we could talk about all of these individually, but is there a particular mirror moment from this season or one of the ones that they showed earlier tonight that spoke to you on a personal level?
On a personal level, no, but I really, really enjoyed hearing from Yuha, just because like I thought she was an invisible character for a bit, so I liked knowing that she had a moment, or that this was like a chance for her to speak. I thought was really nice. I mean, Blair's thing, again, I'm not someone who's been through that, but I love that she has taken this platform and responded so well to the responsibility of speaking up and just like being a voice and an advocate as someone who like, is kind of more timid or quiet generally. Yeah. I thought she has just handled this so well. So I loved seeing her continue to be so poised and so composed. I have nothing like really personal to respond to, but again, I love seeing these moments with these queens. So if you have more to say, I would love to hear it.
I feel like and I know that I think Joe and I have talked about this, and I feel like you and Joe have talked about this on previous episodes. These moments felt the most genuine this season than I think they have in a long time, that they didn't seem quite so, well, now talk to this person, ask this person, what's going on with your mom, sort of thing. It just seemed like it was genuine, organic conversations that came from most of those moments. The Dusty Ray Bottoms stuff with the conversion therapy is
crazy,
and it's terrifying.
How did you feel when you first watched? Because I don't know if you did the episode for that, but how did you feel when you first watched it? Because she talks about it on the show. Like this, Did you get a chance? Like how? Like because it like really shook me. Like it made that's one of the few times that this show as a person has made me like tear up and just like really feel like, oh my god, like this is really, really important.
I think it is something that's very, very important, and it's something that is still happening. The fact that Dusty's how old? Like mid-20s?
She's older than me, but like she's like late 20s. Yeah,
late 20s. So you figure this has happened within the last 10 years or so, and it's to think that there are places in this country and all over the world, but that it happens. And, the part where she was talking in the confessional and she said, I was told I would never have a successful gay relationship. I was told everything I just said, and just to have that where have somebody spewing that at you constantly and trying to get in your brain. It's like something out of a horror movie. We were talking about these horror movies earlier on, but that's my idea of a horror movie. Yeah. It's just horrible. It's just absolutely horrible. So that was one that when you hear that, that's sort of one of those there but for the grace of God, because I remember coming out, I was terrified, military school or one of these camps, or that I would be shunned from my family. It never, and the fact that my family was always very supportive of it, I recognize that I was very lucky in that regards. And that this is a reminder for all of us that not everybody gets to be that lucky.
Yeah, I'm watching this at a gay bar with people who are obviously like out and gay. Like people like we were looking around, being like, oh my god, like there are people here who like aren't this lucky, or like don't feel comfortable enough to be even like seen at this place, this queer space. And it was very special, but also very sad.
And also kind of dovetailing with that, I don't know what if they turned off the commercials or anything during your showing at the bar, but they did a PFLAG commercial that was taken from a bunch of YouTube videos of people talking, which I'm not normally a big fan of that, because I kind of feel like, I don't know why you feel the need to videotape that and then post it on YouTube, but that's just me, and that's because I'm old. But all of them compiled together, it was
powerful.
It was a powerful commercial. It was something that very much, especially when you realized that they were talking to Dusty about this. And then also with a lot of the other queens that they talked to, talking about just that lack of support from moms or lack of support from parents and stuff, that it is still such an important part of our community to support one another when people are asking for help, to offer them that support if they don't feel the support from biological family. I will say this though, and this was this was one thing that kind of pissed me off about the mirror moments, was the question that Rue asked of Dusty, where she said, "Is your chosen family enough?" I thought that was a loaded question, because there was no way Dusty was going to be able to answer that in a way that she wasn't going.
She asked that, "Is your chosen family enough?"
Yes. So do you feel like your chosen family is enough? And Dusty got a look on her face that I said to Babalu, I said, that's a shitty question to ask somebody, because that just sort of felt like, and I thought that Dusty handled herself really well as far as the way that she answered it, in that I am so grateful for, not only my chosen family of all of the other queens, but also when I have kids coming up to me with t-shirts, Dusty t-shirts, and they want my autograph and stuff. And I just don't understand why there are other people in my life that refuse to want to support me in that way. Yeah. So I thought that the way she answered it very diplomatically, but that was really one of the few moments that Rue had this episode that I kind of went, oh, that's a dangerous road to go down, especially when I would encourage you to go back and watch the episode, like when you get it on iTunes or whatever, and watch the looks on Dusty's face. There seemed like a lot of the crying this episode was. It wasn't just my lip's gonna quiver and I'm gonna have one tear. There were some borderline ugly cries that, you figure Asia did one, Dusty almost did one, Monique had a moment. There were some just not. Cameron was starting to have one at the end, which we'll get to later. But it was just there was a lot of emotion this episode,
which I'm sure RuPaul loved. But it's a little too deep, I think.
Yeah. But that's what pays RuPaul's bills. That's what keeps the lights on.
Lights on, bitch. Oh, you keep stealing these things from my mouth. God damn
it. So I'm just thankful she didn't pull out 14 framed pictures of children.
Oh, is it
say, Vanessa?
Too late for me to pull these out, because I have them ready.
Yeah, I made sure when you all submitted your application that I got all these pictures. So we might as well use them while we're here. If we can move all these directors' chairs into a circle, so we can have an actual support group right now.
Okay, AA doesn't meet until Thursday. Tonight's not the night.
If they ever did an actual support group episode with an actual therapist of Drag Race, where you could do all stars therapy session, that would be awesome. I would watch the fuck out of that.
In today's challenge, you're going to be providing support to suicidal homosexuals while reciting monologues to I can't do it. Never mind. I'm trying to.
Death becomes her.
Yeah. Unironically, death becomes her. Good luck, and please don't kill it. Go on, please. God, save me from myself.
I'm trying to think. I can't go. Detox. This week, your funeral wasn't so fun.
Have you seen the Detox? Did you see that Detox was just on this episode of was it Botched? I think it was Botched. Her abs are something that she wants to get fixed, and she's been on the show recently to fix it.
Oh
God, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, as you were, continue.
Thank you. Well, thank you again, mighty Christian of you. Following some toots or boots on a few of this season's runway looks and some reading challenges, in an odd decision for the ending of a reunion, the final moments of the show were left to open up old wounds and share some tea. First up, Miss Cracker confronted Asia about her comment that Cracker wasn't a star. Next, Mayhem talked to Aquaria and Asia about comments made about them being underwhelmed by her looks. And in a shocking twist, Monique and Monet discuss the incongruence between camera on camera and off camera and social media, concluding she was playing a deep game all season. Evan, tell the children, what are your thoughts about any or all of this? The reads, the looks, the confrontations.
Oh, so much to comment on. I think my biggest thing to comment on is that They came for Cameron, rightfully so, but I think that anyone who...
Why do you say rightfully so?
Because I think Cameron truly like came to Drag Race with a persona, and like she admitted to like having a front when the cameras were on. But like if you come to drag, I've talked about this, right? If you come to Drag Race and aren't prepared to think about like what you say and do on camera to follow you for the rest of your life, like she probably was terrified of like things that she would say. Like I think I would be in my head so much if I went on that show. So I think that she had the right intention, but she executed it poorly. Because I think that she is like, I'm sure she's like a very like, she's not a mouse. She's a very like outgoing, confident person. But like she didn't. It was very obvious in the way that the show talked about her. Like they ignored her for the first half completely. And then when she finally was forced to be a character, they kind of mentioned like, oh well, you were like, you kind of like were non-existent, and like this is on you pretty much. Yeah. So I thought that was rightfully a rightful criticism, but like I don't blame Cameron for like, I think again she didn't do a good job at it, but I have talk to me, please.
I was surprised by it, just because it seemed to come out of nowhere.
Yeah, she's like not a confrontational person. Like she never had beef with anybody. So they all of a sudden chose like, oh, well, now that we're here, I'm gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I and that was where Babalu and I were looking at each other like, where the fuck is this coming from? Like, this just seems so out of the ordinary. Until, because it seemed like it was out of left field until she had a moment, and Monique brings it up. She had what I'm calling the Valentina moment, because last year with the Miss Congeniality Award, Valentina was very, I want to thank everybody and da-da-da-da-da, and then everybody started on her, and for a split second, right before she told Pheromone to shut up, her face changed. And Cameron did if you watch, because that's when Monique goes, that's it, that's the girl, that's the one that I want to see. Yeah. That's the what, you just let it slip for a second. That was the moment where I was like, oh shit, she was playing a game. She was playing a game this whole time in some way. So, to which bravo for going through an entire season of just being, poor little drag queen country mouse, and then coming out. It's impressive and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and Joe would say like, oh, you're an idiot. Like you knew what you were signing up for. Like, don't do this. Like, this is on you this is on you to be yourself. You know what I mean? And I think that I would argue that like, I think probably he was just probably scared and stressed. But that is still stinky. I don't know. I didn't like that. Yeah. It was just weird because like no one's ever had problems with Cameron before.
Well, but apparently they did, because the last moments of the episode, when everybody went through and said who they think should be crowned nobody picked Cameron, and they kept flashing back to her face. Well, and the last time they showed her face, she looked like she wanted to cry.
Do you think she should have gone through?
I don't think she should have been. No.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I think Joe let it slip early on in the season that she was top 4. To me, I know that you guys have rumor mill and all, but
What's that?
So I kept expecting something, and other than her being sort of like the lip sync assassin for the season, that's not enough.
Yeah. I think it's enough. I think she deserves to be there, but I do understand like why, like, objectively of the 4, she's the weakest one. Her report card is the most likely to be like submitted to parents to like have a council like meeting. Like her grades are not good enough to like continue on. Yeah,
she didn't fail, but we need to come in and back in elementary school that you would get an N for needs attention. And not the usual type of needs attention like the vixen needs attention, like we need to work on this.
Oh, is it needs? Mine was needs improvement. Man, I never got those. But
I got N's all the time. N's across the board. All right. So, is there anything else that you want to talk about this episode? Anything that we missed? Any looks that you liked out of anybody? I thought. I asked you a question that I immediately started answering. Go ahead, and I'll add something.
Let me pine on my thoughts. Go for it. People miss you, so they want to hear you more than me.
Is it just me? Again, I'm not getting ready to read her, so when I say this, Nobody send me tweets or letters or anything. Did Blair look different to you? Like, she looked older. And I don't mean that like where all of a sudden she looked 40, but I meant like she went from looking less like a little boy to a young man, but a man.
I wouldn't. I thought she looked amazing. I don't know.
I thought she looked amazing too. But I know that, you know, when she was on season 10, there were times that she kind of looked like a boy playing dress up in his mom and doing a fierce look, but it still looked like a little boy in a dress.
Maybe because she was sitting down and not like she was kind of sitting still. You notice it more, but I didn't notice that at all.
So I thought her hair looked great. I loved her wig.
Hair. God bless her.
So I love that song too. That song and that video. That video is so my aesthetic with the 50s and like the, you know, the gloves for now or never.
Like pouring the alcohol down the drain.
Right.
That's my life.
And every time I watch the video, the part where Jinx Monsoon goes, "We're full up, bitch," I laugh every single time. I don't know. Or we're full bitch. So also, I want to say something else that has something kind of sort of to do with the show. But years from now, when people come back and listen to this episode, this classic episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap,
in the archives,
it will make no point of in the archives when they go in the Library of Congress holds on to this. This won't make sense to anybody. The Snickers commercial with the grandmother looking at the picture that are and then she goes, "What the hell is this supposed to be?" They showed it 3 times. We both stopped talking to watch this like 10-second video for it was like Snickers espresso bars or something. Very, very funny.
I missed that.
Oh yeah, no, you'll have to watch it. It's like a 10-second video, and it's like 2 videos. There's something with a cheerleader, and then there's one with a grandmother, but they show them together back to back. And then also, as a therapist, they showed a commercial for Talkspace with Michael Phelps. And he was talking about getting therapy and how therapy helped him and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was really cool from a counseling position.
Good.
So, yeah. So all right. So I asked you a question, then I cut you off. So let me ask you the question again.
The only thing that I am the most obsessed with is fucking Yua Hamasaki. That look is so funny to me. Her little like, it's not it. You know.
No, it's like the ring.
Oh, the ring. That's what it's like. It's the ring. Like, you know, she didn't speak once this whole episode, but she, like, again, I watched this at a bar. People screamed when she was on TV.
When they first showed her, did you see she was doing the thing where she was bobbing her head up and down?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Just like, you know what? Like, you did not make a big impact, but good for you for like at least knowing how to make like a bit of your time here. I loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I'm ready for this season to be over.
I know. I don't know how the two of you have done it. I said when they announced last week where they said next week is the reunion, and I would, oh God, there's 2 more weeks. I thought it was done. But we do this every single live season that we do. By the end of this, you're on steam to get through.
And the gag is like, it's like All Stars 3, season 10. Like, it's like, we're like, like this is like week 20. And again,
yeah.
You know what, bitch? I'm very happy to be here. Like, I will not complain at all. Like, I'm very, very, very like appreciative, and I
give it time. You'll eventually start complaining.
Well, you know, like I'm not good enough to complain, but I like this is a lot.
Yeah. This is why next year, season 11, and I know that they're filming All Stars 4 now. That's the rumor, or it's been filmed or whatever.
Taylor.
Enjoy All Stars 4. That's what I'm saying. Enjoy All Stars 4 with Joe.
4 meant for more. Kill me. Never mind. Taylor, yeah. What was your favorite moment of season 10?
Of the whole thing?
Off the top of your head. Yeah.
God, that's a hard one. The lip syncs are always my favorite part. I'm trying to think which was my favorite lip sync. Oh, they talked about lip syncs too. I forgot to talk about that in the script. I loved. Okay, let me tell you what my favorite lip sync was, and the biggest disappointment for a lip sync was. Okay, my favorite lip sync was probably Monet versus Dusty.
Yes, same. Bitch,
so
sorry.
with the whole fake out death drop, that was a moment I watched over and over again.
That's my moment of the season.
Yeah, that might be that. I think that is my moment of the season. My most disappointing lip sync would be Monet and the Vixen for oh my god, what's the name of that song?
Monet. Oh god,
the Carly Rae.
No. It was Monique Hart and the Vixen. Oh, Cut to the Feeling, Carly Rae Jepsen.
Cut to the Feeling. Cut to the Feeling, because Cut to the Feeling is one of those songs that I learned about a year or two ago, and that song to me is so joyous,
right?
And so happy, and I have wanted them to do that as a lip sync. And I remember when it started, I gasped, because I was like, "Oh my god, they're doing this song!" And it was such a lackluster performance on both of their. Plus, I didn't like the Vixen, and then was it Monique or was it Monet?
It was Monique and the Vixen.
No, Monique went home before that. It was Monet.
No, it was Monique. Monique Hart went home to this song because she didn't know the words to it.
Okay.
Monique Hart. Monique Hart. It was Monique Hart versus the Vixen.
Well, what did Monet go home to? Who did she go up against?
She went home to Cameron, and it was the makeover challenge.
Okay. All right. You're right. Okay. It was. You're right. It is Monique. Oh God.
Either way.
See, this is why I keep you on, because you remember all this stuff. Okay. So, all right. So, what was your moment? Was that the fake dropout? Was that your favorite moment of the season, or?
I think it was.
Yeah, it was a really good one.
Good. God, it's so funny. And then I think if it wasn't that, it would be. Think.
Would it be the moment you talk directly into the microphone?
What?
I had to do one for Joe. I had to do one.
What? No, my best moment of this season was seeing the finale with my pal Joe Batance and wishing
seeing the finale with my friend Joe Batance, and that I wasn't there.
I wish that you were there. Come on, you weenie. I'm just happy to be here. You know,
cancer. Wah, wah, wah. Oh no, we're not supposed to do the.
I don't know her. Don't bring cancer up. Was this terrible? Did you hate this? Do you want to what are your thoughts right now? How are we feeling?
On what? Yeah. This episode? This episode's been great. What are you talking about?
But again, I never know how to feel.
No, this is good. This is much better than I was expecting from you.
You know what? Do you know how many people I've had sex with have said the same exact thing? Literally, we finished and been like, "Oh wow.
You're bendy.
I don't hate myself. I don't need Xanax right now. This is great."
You know what? You can stay for you can cuddle. We can cuddle for 5-10 minutes. Then you gotta go.
One time I had sex with someone in college and behind a dumpster, and he asked me to bring a paper bag to put over my head. And he was like, "You know what? You can leave without the bag. That was good."
I thought you were being serious. Please tell me that was a joke.
No, completely serious. I went to a very conservative college. Are you kidding me? I went to UVA. It was good dick, but
so a guy had sex with you. You had a paper bag on your head behind a dumpster.
I don't want to be seen. No, because he was like, I will know. People will know that I'm gay if they see me with you.
Well, if they see you with your dick in his ass, then yes, I think that would be a clue. I think the jig would be up at that point.
Something was up. And it was not just a jig.
So you had to put the bag on your head, or he had to put the bag on his head? The bag
would be on my head afterwards, just in case someone saw us.
Like you're supposed to walk around and put a bag on your head?
Yep. I mean, I didn't do it. I was like, "Fuck you." This is not something I'm saying.
I have more respect for myself than that, which is why I'm going to fuck you behind a dumpster. It's
going to be good, and you're going to be like, "Oh, thank you," and I did. So,
that concludes this week's episode.
Wait, did you?
That concludes this week's episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap. Be sure to join us this week and every week as we discuss, dissect, and deconstruct each brand new episode of RuPaul's Drag Race Recap Season 10. Special thanks to Joe Batance for letting us do this episode, this dumpster fire of an episode that we've done.
Fun. You know what?
It was fun. I very much enjoyed this.
I'm so happy to actually talk to you and spend time with you. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
You're very, very welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, for Evan, Ayres, and myself,
sashay away. Until next week.
Want to share your thoughts about Drag Race? Email us at dragracerecap@gmail.com. If you want to help the show, leave us a review on iTunes. The more positive reviews we get, the higher we move up in the rankings, and that helps the show find a bigger audience. If you want to help the show even more, support us on Patreon at patreon.com/dragracerecap. For as little as $1 a month, you gain access to exclusive bonus content not available on the main podcast feed. For up-to-the-minute news about the show, follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/dragracerecap and follow us on Twitter at dragracerecap. To find all of our old episodes, visit us at our website at dragracerecap.com. Taylor has his own podcast. It's called Pod Is My Co-Pilot, and you can find it at podismycopilot.com or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Taylor on Instagram and Twitter at PIMCTaylor. Want to hear me talk about Drag Race even more? Well, then listen to me on One-on-One with Larry Flick every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, exclusively on Entertainment Weekly Radio, Channel 105 on Sirius XM Radio. You can also find me on my other podcast, Catching Up with Mike and Joe, available at catchinguppodcast.com and wherever you get your podcasts. Finally, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Joe Betance, that's JoeBetance.